All right, welcome to today's episode of Detox. So excited to have with us Abe Cruz. Abe is a successful businessman. He is an athlete, renowned athlete, a motivational speaker. Abe is currently visiting Pakistan. We're really excited to have him here. Abe, how are you doing today?
Thank you so much for inviting me onto the show. It's truly an honor, a privilege, a blessing. I'm just so grateful. You mentioned all these titles, and at the end of the day, the title that I identify with is overcomer.
Overcomer.
Overcomer, somebody who's just overcoming life and been able to do a couple of different things along the way.
And you've overcome a lot, have you not? You speak of the mindset of a champion. Tell us a little bit about how you came to that and what it means. And
Well, mindset of champions is a phrase that we created, and I created it from rock bottom. I created it at the prison level. For those of you that don't know my story, we'll get into a little bit, but I ended up in prison in my 20s, and I missed half of my 20s because of one horrible choice that I made that led me to prison. It's a long story. That's why we have a book. That's why we're doing so much, but it was at rock bottom where my mom told me not to lose faith. And that was it.
tell us a little bit about that. I mean, what was your life like before that experience and how did it change after?
So I was born and raised in East LA, California. And, I love my father, but I don't know my father. He left when I was about 4 years old. So I was raised by a single mother with another brother and a sister in a one-bedroom apartment, pretty much my entire upbringing until I got to college. So we grew up very, what people would consider poor, but I always had what I needed. I didn't need luxuries of life. I had food. We had a roof over our head, and that alone it was a blessing, because, me traveling to another country, and I've been now to multiple countries. And, whenever you think that you have it hard, you see the world and you see how people have it worse. As good as you think you are, someone's always better than you. As difficult of a life as you have, someone always has a little bit more difficult.
Very true. That's a very important perspective, I think, to have. And you talk a lot about being able to overcome challenges and become what you aspire to be, regardless of the situation you're in.
Absolutely.
Tell us more about.
I think it goes back to my mom. And I always bring up my father and I clarify that I'm not mad or upset with my dad for him not being in my life, but that also created some kind of drive and ambition and passion and excitement for me because my mom always said, don't use excuses. My mom always said, my mom had to work 3 jobs. So she worked 3 jobs to provide for us. So she didn't have excuses. She would wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, go to work, come back, take us to school, make our lunch, do it at night, So I saw her growing up. And the difficulty is that when we're youth, when we're teenagers, we don't value our life. We don't value our parents. We don't give the respect and the honor that we should be giving, right? Until later on in life where we realize how much our parents sacrificed for us. And in this case, my mom. So I think she gave me that drive, but I didn't recognize it. I didn't understand that I had it. I was a brat little kid wanting to be cool in life. And, when you grow up in that kind of a poverty, you want more, right? So many obstacles in school, whether flunking out of class, flunking my grades, ditching school, getting in trouble, so many different things that I created upon myself because of my selfish attitude. Many people don't see those things.
So you developed a sense of gratefulness, and you mentioned that your mother, when the chips were down, she was the one there for you, and she told you to have faith, and that changed you, didn't it?
From that entire journey of childhood, excuse me, to college, to eventually, in my early 20s, making a horrible choice that led me down the wrong path. And long story short is I ended up in prison for transporting cocaine. That's the real truth. I transported cocaine. Someone approached me and said, I see all these different jobs that you're working. I was a personal trainer in the morning. I was doing real estate during the afternoon, and I was doing club promotion at night. And I was just driving myself crazy for trying to make as much money as I could. And all I would do is spend it on stupidities. You wouldn't spend it. I wasn't investing. I wasn't investing in my future. I was going out and partying and spending it on dumb stuff. These are the things that we need to teach our youth for our future. But I realized eventually when I hit rock bottom and I ended up in prison that everything I had done in my past was of greed, was of selfishness, was of arrogance or ego. And you have a time where you realize I'm not living the right life. My mom was always a very loving, spiritual, religious woman. And she'd always tell me to pray. She'd always tell me to ask God for direction and guidance. And when you're young and crazy, you're not focused on those things. But it was while I was in prison at rock bottom and on a 35-year prison sentence, and I saw everybody else in prison lose all faith. Many of the men had children and wives, and they didn't want to get out of prison. They lost all their faith. So it was, I told my mom, I said, Mom, it's tough in here. There's grown men in here, 40, 50 years old, and I was only 25, 26. And I said, Mom, there's grown men in here giving up on life. And my mom is Mexican, so she speaks to me in Spanish. She says, mijo, which means son. She says, no matter what happens, don't lose your faith. She tells me, it's time to switch your life. You have to switch your perspective, your thought process, your attitude, your mindset, and you have to put God first.
Not an easy switch to make.
No. How do you go from selfishness to surrendering?
What happened?
Pain, suffering. Like you realize that all those other things that you thought were going to make you feel good meant absolutely nothing. Having a nice car, having tons of money in your bank account so you can go out to the club and spend it on stupid stuff, you're still empty inside. You're living a materialistic life that does nothing for you.
One of the most beautiful things about, what I see here at the NIC is when we get our founders mentorship, and those mentors have made mistakes, and that enables those founders to learn from their mistakes and shorten their learning curve, and you went through a profound transition and you have phenomenal work ethic. So what would you like to say for the founders, especially? I mean, running a company, you mentioned you need to be a workaholic. Tell us a little bit about that.
Before I move on to that, I have to share this. When my mom said, don't lose faith, she tells me, son, you have to get on your hands and knees and you have to pray and you have to ask God for a second chance at life. But more than that, you need to make a sacrifice. Sacrifice for God, sacrifice for your career, sacrifice for a dream. Life is so much about sacrifice, but we're also selfish and we don't want to do that. We don't want to work all day long because we'd rather go party and do something else. But all we're actually doing is affecting our future. We are making it a direction towards a future of potential failure, not of strength and foundation. It's just chaos and destruction. So with all of that being said, my mom told me, make the sacrifice, surrender your life to God, put him first. He'll get you out of this and he'll show you your purpose. We all have a purpose on this planet. I don't think we were put on this planet to work 9 to 5 and slave for somebody else. And people that work for me and they're employees of me, I don't want them to just work for me for the next 50 years. And if they do, I want to make sure that they become multimillionaires. But besides becoming a multimillionaire, taking care of their family, taking care of responsibility. Money is just a pass. Money is just, it gives you many choices. I was blessed and fortunate to fly here. I don't know how much the flight cost, but it cost a little bit. But I didn't have to stress and worry that, oh, man, I don't even have enough money to fly there. If my mom gets sick and my mom needs to go to the hospital and there's a bill needs to be paid, okay, we can pay the bill. That's what money should be used for. We're using it on stupidity, drugs and alcohol and pornography and getting drunk and just chaos.
So having the right vision for where you want your life to go, what you see yourself as, say, 10 years from now, and then half of it will be God helping you get there.
He's the first key. That's what I believe. Yeah, absolutely.
Because when you had that vision, I believe from your story, what I understand is that those avenues just started appearing around you.
I just truly feel when you connect and you're in sync with God's alignment and his purpose, it will be revealed. It's given to you through that. And your purpose and your mission and what you're supposed to do on planet Earth. I believe that everyone was put here to do something incredible, but we get in our own way, right? And it's a very spiritual, psychological discussion. We don't have time for that today, but all of that is so required in order to take control of your life. Most people are not in control of their life. Their life is in control of them.
We talked about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind.
It's so real. It is 100% real, but we are lost.
How can founders fix the subconscious workings of the mind?
I think that the best way to getting to that point is just being truthful and honest, because no one likes to point out their flaws, right? You write that to-do list. You're this, and this. So I'm good at this. I'm bad at that. I'm good at this. I'm bad at that. It's just a list. There's no good or bad. It's just a list of things that you need to organize, and the things that you feel like you're weak in. Okay, let's work on it. Let's develop it. A pro athlete doesn't make it to the pros only because he's good. He makes it there because he ends up seeing what he's not good at, and he fixes it, corrects it, and then develops strength in those weak areas. The same thing as an entrepreneur. Running a business is the same thing. When we started clothes and making it, clothes were falling apart. I started in sports, numbers were falling apart. Like, it's just part of the process. Yeah. And then not losing faith when things don't go well, and blaming. Who are you going to blame? You can't blame God for problems. It's our lack of focus and our lack of understanding and our lack of ability to learn.
What are your goals for the next couple of years? Where do you see yourself going? Spiritually, do you see yourself trying a couple of things to grow, obviously physically, mentally with your business?
We have to grow every day. And I feel like spiritually needs to be the first thing. I would put that first always. The rest of the business and everything else, that's just secondary. Physical health, of course, because if you're not physically in tune and up to par, you can't travel, you can't do these interviews, you can't work. You're going to be in bed sick, and it's super important. So even today, I got up and I got to the gym at 7, and it's just part of my daily routine, no matter where I am in the world. And if I could be at a beach or an island and there's not a gym, I'm still going to get up and run. I'm going to do something. That's just automatic. It's part of developing the mind. Push your body so your mind can grow. And your mind, once your mind grows, then the physical part comes with it. It's easy.
Tell us a little bit. Can you break it down a little bit? Your routine. What's that like?
I'm married with kids now, so I have a family and a responsibility, and I'm so grateful and fortunate to have my family. But I'll wake up before. I don't have an alarm. My body is just excited to go to sleep. I'm excited to go to sleep, and I'm excited to wake up. I want to hurry up and get the sleep over with. The sleeping is just a recharging of your battery, right, for the next day. So I'll wake up between 4 and 5. And I'll go to the gym. I'll get in an hour and a half, 2 hours. Sometimes then I'll come home to take my son to the bus so he can get ready for school. And after that, I'm off to meetings, phone calls, or if I end up sleeping not in enough time to get to the gym, because I have to be at the gym for at least 2 hours. That's just me. I'll wake up, take my son to school, and then go to the gym. And I'm there working on the treadmill, in between sets. I'm responding to emails, but I'm always listening to something that's in the right direction. Let me give you an example. I don't know how it is in Pakistan, but in America, everyone says they want to get in shape and lose weight, right? So if they say they want to lose weight, why would they pick up a donut? Why would they eat a piece of cake? It's not pushing them in the right direction. It's only hindering them from making their goal. If you say you want to make money and be a successful business person, why would you be hanging out at the club? Why would you be wasting time watching TV? if it's not of growth. And you can watch TV and get some valuable stuff from it. You know, when I watch TV, even if it's a Netflix series, I watched a Netflix series flying from the US to Pakistan for 14 hours. I watched the Nicky Jam Netflix story. And I specifically chose that because Nicky Jam, I felt like I could learn from his story. He was from Puerto Rico. He got hooked on drugs and guns and women and the party life. He had a good friend named Daddy Yankee. Daddy Yankee went on to be a platinum artist, make hundreds of millions of dollars while Nicky Jam was in prison. And Nicky Jam was upset at Daddy Yankee for not being there. But Daddy Yankee said, hey, you're not focused. You have all the talent in the world, but you're not focused. You would rather party than be in the studio. That's life. Like, if we really want to have a successful business, I mean, I'm a little extreme. So all of the audience that hears this, I'm extreme, but it's because I lost over 4 years of my life to prison and then even a lawsuit, which you guys will hear about later. But I lost years of my life to dedicate to my business to only make sure that my kids and my family and the legacy is left behind. Like there's going to be a legacy. You know, we're already planning a movie, and it's going to be a spiritual, motivational movie. I mean, the movie is about putting God first in your life.
Wow, hard truths there, Abe, and I think there's something for everyone to learn from that. You're a family man. I mean, what makes a good family man?
So I say God first, yourself second. The reason I say yourself second, God first, obviously, is because when you put God first, he gives you all the instruments, he gives you all the tools, he gives you the knowledge, he gives you the humility to take care of your family and love your family and cherish your family. My wife is such an incredible woman. She sacrificed so much for us to get to this point in every single way. When I met her a year out of prison. My first date was to Subway, where she paid for my sandwich because I didn't have money because I just got out of prison and I was on the ankle monitor. So she was there for me for real as a human being, saying, you know, I'm not judging you. And my life, I can't judge people. I don't care where you live. I don't care what kind of food you like, what kind of music you like, what religion you have, whether you're a guy or a girl. I'm a convicted felon. That's my reality. And I know people judge me for that. So, but I also know that I made a horrible mistake and now I've turned it around and I'm focused on helping other people. So I can't judge people. I can only help them if they're lost, if they're confused, or if we have some kind of a disconnection. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means that they've lived a different life than me.
Focus, help others, don't judge, have a vision. Tell us about your book, Abe. You have a book.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is the book. You know, and I wrote part of my vision in prison that I would write a book, I would start a business, I would do a movie. I don't know if they can see that. It's kind of far, but those are my mug shots, and this is some of the paperwork that was written in prison. So this paperwork was written on napkins, and I just saved them and put them in my folders, like everything.
Amazing.
One says, being prepared is the key to success. And right here, I wrote my to-do list from prison. Start Forever Faith brand to motivate and inspire the world. Create a workout system. Make a film. Become an actor. Write a book. Start a clothing line. I even have a comic book. We have so many.
Was the movie in there?
The movie, yeah. Film a movie, absolutely. Share the story. That was it. Like, we already knew. I put business plan from prison written on anything I had. And these are just all like napkins. And
we take paper for granted.
Right, absolutely.
To all the tools, but all you really need is the focus, the drive, the vision. Then you can do it in any circumstance.
Any circumstance. It was written out. And I shared the story about the gentleman I met at the gym who became an angel, literally, investor. But if I didn't have everything written out, if I hadn't had the vision and written the vision out and made it plain, he wouldn't have understood anything I had, except he would have thought I was insane and crazy.
Yeah, that moment would not have come. So, Abe, how can people learn more about you? How can people connect with you?
Well, we're here now in Pakistan. I am leaving, but I'll be back I'll be visiting frequently. We are building a team now here with Mubashar and Muda and a team of people. So you guys will keep track on them. We're building a team out here, and I would love to stay in contact here with the business because I know you have a lot of students and people that would definitely love to do that. We're growing a business. We're going to office. We're going to be doing a lot of things. So just you can look up online, go to Google and type in Forever Faith, Mindset of Champions, Abe Cruz, and it's all there.
All right, brilliant. And I'm really looking forward to seeing more Forever Faith here. I know that your clothing line is in direct competition with the likes of Under Armour.
The biggest brands in the world. So what would people say to a person competing against the billion-dollar companies in the world?
You can do it.
Well, most people would say I'm insane, but see, you're definitely an entrepreneur and you have the mindset of champ.
I'm excited. I'm excited to rock that Forever Faith at the gym, Abe.
Do it, absolutely. All over the place.
All over the place.
Suits and ties, because you look very nice and elegant and well dressed. So we got to take care of all different cultures and divisions of clothing and everything.
Abe, love your energy. All the founders here at the National Incubation Center really appreciate you. We see you as a mentor here, and we hope to keep that connect going.
Absolutely, yes.
And in whatever way us and our audience can help you grow your brand here in Pakistan. Thank you so much, Abe, for coming to the show today. Take care.
Greatly appreciate you guys, and thank you to the entire family. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to today's podcast, and I'll see you the next time on Detox. Thank you. Bye-bye.